Whether it's Kevin Feige at Marvel, who is terrible at running a studio. You have Kathleen Kennedy, who is absolutely atrocious at running a studio from a business standpoint and from a story standpoint and an everything standpoint. You wind up with garbage like this, and hold your breath, because I can promise you, as many jokes as we're about to do here with this turd, I have a feeling that Kevin Feige is going to pull a hold my beer next year when it comes to Avengers Doomsday. Renegade Online. Cost of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, or The Rise of Palpatine, as we typically call it, approaches $600 million. Oh, God. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can piss away money on more retarded shit than the Walt Disney Company. $600 million. The most expensive of the Disney Star Wars sequels, and the worst performing. But it launched a hotel. Oops. I can't, seriously, I can't even anymore with Disney. I can't. It's so silly. It's so ridiculous. You know, the allure, and we've talked about this a multitude of times, the allure of going to shoot in the UK, I completely understand. The cost of doing things there is a lot cheaper than trying to shoot the same films here in the US or in foreign countries like California. And that's why even studios like Disney are doing this. But when your entire studio system is so incompetent and you have no capable business leadership running anything, whether it's Kevin Feige at Marvel, who is terrible at running a studio from a business standpoint. You have Kathleen Kennedy, who is absolutely atrocious at running a studio from a business standpoint and from a story standpoint and an everything standpoint. You wind up with garbage like this, and hold your breath, because I can promise you, as many jokes as we're about to do here with this turd, I have a feeling that Kevin Feige is going to pull a hold my beer next year when it comes to Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, with costs versus box office. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think the box office for that Avengers film is going to be markedly better than The Rise of Skywalker, which wasn't that good, especially considering the enormous cost. $600 million is what this is now approaching. Now, granted, this is a gross figure. The $600 million, or nearly $600 million US dollars, does not include film tax credits that would have come back largely from the UK. Okay? That certainly would have brought the net cost down. But when you consider that this $600 million does not include several other large expense items, it gets worse. And we did an entire video a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago now, breaking down the Star Wars costs over time, the movie side of things, and how much money it's actually made, or really what it's lost. And when you did the collective math on the 5 films, just the 5 movies that went to the theaters, when you did the collective math on these things, and when we do the clip of this, maybe we'll leave a link to that classic video in the description. Disney really did not turn a profit on the 5 films collectively at the box office. They didn't. I think they might have, from the best we can tell, they probably just simply broke even. And if they made any money, it was not very much. It was probably less than $100 million. at the box office. And these were on 5 Star Wars movies. Remember, the first one did over $2 billion. The second one, $1.3 billion. And this third one did $1 billion. The 2 other ones in the mix there that weren't part of the sequel trilogy, you had Solo, which was a complete box office disaster at only like $300-something million. And then you had Rogue One that did, I think, a little north of $1 billion. But again, there were tremendous costs to those other two movies as well. Disney revealed on Monday that the total cost of 2019's Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker came to $593.7 million US dollars. That's 450.2 million British pounds sterling, making it the third most expensive movie in history. You know what number 1 and 2 are? If I'm right, Caroline probably lists them in here. Number 1 and 2, they're also Disney movies. Shocked, I know. Infinity War and Endgame combined to cost a total of $1.3 billion with a B dollars. So about $650 million apiece. No, those two movies did not make the amount of profit that you probably think they did at the box office for Disney. So, that being said. Now remember, these tidbits of information come to us from public filings that Disney or their British subsidiaries, along with, frankly, Warner Brothers and Comcast and everybody else under the sun, they have to file, okay, in the UK, they have to file financial reports in order to claim these very lucrative film tax credits that they're entitled to under British law. So right now, for example, Warner Brothers, that is filming this new Harry Potter TV series, filming it in the UK, clearly, and they're taking advantage of all the same film tax credits that Disney is taking advantage of for movies like this. And what's unique about the UK and the reasons why a lot of these studios want to go over there is because, unlike really every place here in the U.S., Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, California, so on, it doesn't matter where, all of these individual states in the U.S. that do film tax credits, they have a cap. They have a pool that they allocate each and every year. So they'll allocate $100 million, $200 million, $500 million, so on and so forth. A whole collective pool that everybody has to come in and apply for to get their piece based on what they're going to spend in that state when they shoot their film. Britain doesn't have a cap. It's kind of a floating number. It's demand-based. But one of the reasons that Pinefield and Shinfield keep filling up over there on a regular basis and are booked out years in advance is because of this. Now, if that were to radically change tomorrow, you'd probably see a big shift back into the U.S. Of course, that doesn't assuage the issue that we have here in the U.S., that the labor prices that they have to pay to make a movie here in the U.S. are way worse, meaning higher, than they are in the U.K., which is why they go over there to begin with. Okay, so we're now at the point to where, we've pretty much got all the numbers in, and I see Caroline goes down here. It only just trails Jurassic World Dominion, which costs a monster 453. Okay, she's looking for individuals. 453.6 million British pound sterlings. That was Jurassic World Dominion, and they filmed that in the UK. Now, so she doesn't break it out, but I broke it out because Caroline herself had reported on the two Marvel films, Infinity War and Endgame, which were shot quite a bit in the UK. They did, and because they shot those two films basically together concurrently, it was very hard to segregate what went to what film. It was all under the same film production entity in the UK that they filed, which is okay in this case. So we don't know which one, but if you average it out, they were $650 million apiece. So I'd probably push back a little bit with an asterisk there. As far as an individual film, we know for sure Dominion, okay, boom. But if we look at Infinity War and Endgame, it gets worse. Remarkably, despite its staggering cost, Rise of Skywalker came in under budget, and there's no doubt about that. Like the last 3 Jurassic World films, Disney's Star Wars trilogy was made in the UK, which shines a spotlight on its cost. Now, the reason she says under budget is because this is the language that they use in the financial filings, right? When they file these reports every year, Everything was in line with the budget. It's like boilerplate tax filing language in the UK to put that in there. They didn't have any extraordinary expenses. And again, in this case, when it came to the Rise of Skywalker, they really didn't, because they decided they were going to shoot a movie. Then they realized it sucked. And then they kept shooting the movie 2 and 3 more times until we got the rabid pile of squirrel farts that came out in theater in December of 2019. That was it, right? So, you know what? We adjusted this. We went up. We added this. We planned to spend another $100 million. And then we planned to spend another $200 million. And then we planned to spend $150 million more. These people are idiots. But this is what it basically boils down to. Now, remember, none of this figure actually includes anything beyond production. Meaning, this doesn't include $200+ million that Disney absolutely assuredly spent on a massive marketing campaign for this film. $200, maybe $250 million. It doesn't include anything that Disney spent on post-theatrical, meaning, hey, we spent $20 million making a bunch of DVDs. Whatever. This is strictly to physically make the film, okay? Pre-production through post-production. Principal photography in the middle, right? That's it. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.